On the morning of April 19th, at 34 minutes past 6, my wife Nina slipped away peacefully at home with me beside her, the way we always wanted it. We had been married for almost 62 years. And in that one moment, I became something I never pictured myself being, a widower. If you have lost the person you built your entire life around, then you already know there is no map for what comes next. I'm making this channel because I went looking for that map, and I couldn't find one either. My name is Roland, and I'm learning how to live again. I want to be honest with you right now and right from the start. This is not a channel about getting over my wife Nina. It is not about replacing her or moving on as though 62 years could simply be set down and left behind. You don't move on from a love like that very easily. What I'm learning to do, and what I want to walk through together with you, is how to live again. How to love life again, even after losing the person who was my whole world. That's a very different thing, and it's what this channel is about. Now let me tell you a little bit about her, because you can't understand what I lost without first understanding how lucky I was. Nina and I met on a blind date. I was 18 years old, in the Air Force, and the military, in its infinite wisdom, had sent me to Yale University to learn to speak Chinese. Nina was still a senior in high school. We went on that one blind date, and that was it. From that night on, there was never anyone else, not for me and not for her. We were married in June 1964. Nina was vibrant, curious, happy, adventuresome. She would go anywhere and try anything. And that was a gift because the life we built took us all over the world. 6 years in Japan, 4 years in Germany, 2 years in Hawaii, and in between, Texas, Indiana, Ohio, Colorado, California, Idaho, and finally Utah. Wherever the road went, we went together. For nearly 62 years, she was beside me through all of it. A few years ago, that began to change. Nina started showing small signs of dementia. In 2019, she was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. And if you've ever walked this road with someone you love, you know that Alzheimer's does not take a person all at once. It takes them in pieces, slowly. The progression sped up a bit over the years, and by the middle of 2023, she needed around-the-clock care. I was able to keep her home. I cared for her day and night, right up until the very end. And on that April morning, in our own home, she passed away peacefully. And after almost 62 years, the house went quiet. Now I want to tell you what these past few months have really been like, because this is the part no one prepares you for, and it's the part I most want you to hear. It has been a roller coaster of emotions. And the hardest thing, the thing that I truly wasn't ready for, was the conflict of it. For years, my whole life had been 24-hour caregiving. And then suddenly, that was gone. There was a part of me that felt free. But at the same time, in the very same breath, I was overwhelmed with grief at losing her. How do you hold both of those at once? Relief and heartbreak sitting side by side in the same chest? If you're feeling that too, that guilt over feeling free, I want you to hear me say it plainly. There is nothing wrong with you. I felt it too. It is far more common than anyone admits out loud. And then there were the decisions. So many of them, all of them demanding to be made right now, while I could barely think straight. But the hardest hours were the nights. The house is never so quiet, and you are never so alone as at night when the person who filled it is gone. So why am I sitting here, an old man, talking to a camera? Because I needed someone to talk to. I needed to talk through the decisions and everything they set in motion. And more than anything, I wanted to know, what have other men been through after losing their wives? How did they survive it? What did they learn that could help me? So I went looking. And I found a great deal of support out there for widows. Video after video for women. And that's a good thing, but for a man in my shoes, I found almost nothing that spoke to me. So I decided if that voice didn't exist yet, maybe I could be it. I'm not an expert. I'm not a counselor. I'm just a man who was living this one day at a time and who was willing to tell the truth about it. Here's what I have come to believe. Life continues relentlessly. It does not wait for you to be ready. And so I found myself with a choice to make. I could wallow in my grief, or I could figure out how to seize hold of life again. I chose to seize it. But choosing that meant doing something hard. It meant putting myself back out there, somehow. And I'll be honest with you. Going back to church, for instance, was very difficult at first, sitting in that pew without her beside me. But the congregation surrounded me with such kindness and such support that little by little, I began to feel something I didn't expect to feel again so soon. That I could keep living. That I could build a life worth loving, even without Nina here beside me. That is what learning to love again means to me. It does not mean forgetting her, never that. It means choosing each and every morning to still say yes to life. If any of this sounds like where you are right now, then I hope you'll stay. This is where I'll share what I'm learning, honestly, and from experience. In my next video, for instance, I'm going to talk about how even after years of warning, nothing prepared me for actually losing her. And in another, I'm going to walk through the 5 things I had to stop doing after Nina died. Small habits that were quietly keeping me stuck. If you've lost your spouse, or you love someone who has, please subscribe and walk this road alongside me, and we'll figure it out together. You are not as alone as it feels tonight. I promise you that. I'm Roland. Thank you for being here. I'll see you in the next one.